When you think of Colorado Springs, you probably think of these 5 iconic neighborhoods, and we don't use the word iconic lightly.
No.
But honestly, it's because it's what you think of when you think of Colorado Springs. It's like,
essence.
yeah, the essence of water is wetness. It's most likely where you have actually been if you have come here to visit, or just when you think of that mental picture, it's what comes to mind.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna take you through the 5 most iconic neighborhoods. Number 5 is obviously the most iconic, but we're gonna start here in Old Colorado City. Number 1, Old Colorado City, which is where we are. We're right off of Colorado Avenue, so sorry that it's freaking loud, but let me look at it. Basically, we could just show you that sign and walk off. But yeah, why is Old Colorado City so iconic?
To me, definitely the historic piece of it is what makes it iconic. When you walk down Colorado Avenue, it, except for the street and the street lights, it looks like it did, 100 years ago, 100 or more years ago. You got beautiful historic buildings lining Colorado Avenue and all the others. When you walk through the neighborhoods, you got beautiful Victorian homes lining the streets, and they look just like they did, except for some new paint colors 100 years ago. I mean, it's preserved history at its best.
Yeah, I think that's something like super interesting to hit specifically about the housing market down here, is that it is way different than what you'll see like up in Briargate and Northgate.
Yeah.
So, not every client that comes to us wants to live in Old Colorado City, but it's still cool and they want to come down here. But the homes, so you have a lot of homes that I would guess or venture that like the oldest home is probably somewhere like average around like the 1880s, 1890s, and definitely a lot in the early part of the 20th century, so 1900s to 1920s. And those homes are just built different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for example, we have a house that's for sale just a couple blocks from here that is 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom.
Yeah.
And it really, I think in Old Colorado City, it's like a specific type of person or partnership or whatever is looking for that, because most people nowadays, it's like 3-2 minimum.
Yep.
And a lot of these homes are small enough, they're clever, like uses of space, they're cute, they're adorable, but they're not like, it's not like today when you're like, oh, I want this big master suite with a giant master bathroom attached, and like I want a coffee nook and all these like extra weird amenities.
It's not wide open spaces.
No.
The Dixie Chicks. Sorry, the Chicks.
The Chicks, yeah. Come on, get it right.
Sorry.
No, that's actually a really great point though. Like the homes are just a lot different. So, but aside from that, why would then somebody live down here? I'll give you a great example.
Oh, yeah.
I have a friend that actually just moved up here recently. He was in the military. He was stationed at a not cool place before this. And so when he moved out here, he was like, no, like I'm like, I want to get my 20s back, right? And so he moved to the downtown area, to this downtown Old Colorado City area. And everything is like so walkable, including across the street from us right now, the British Pantry and Tea Room.
Yeah.
Not that that's even close to the highlight down here.
But you do have La Baguettes.
Yeah.
Bontons.
Jake and Telly's. And it's so walkable.
Yeah.
In fact, as we're like out here, there's tons of families just like walking by with food and with snacks. And there's little like boutique shops. And so there's a lot of cool stuff down here. And most people, if they have come to Colorado Springs, they have come to Old Colorado City.
For sure.
They have walked the walk. And so like real quick, I just want to look at this map because it is conveniently located here for us. And you can see Colorado Avenue is this big one right here. Bring it on in, bring it on in. Oh yeah. That's okay. Are you here? Okay, so we've got Old Colorado Avenue. I don't know why I say it like that. It sounds so pretentious. Avenue. Come on, American. And then it goes up. So we're considering it up to Uinta, which is somewhere on.
It's actually not listed on here.
No, it's not, because I think it changed Barce Avenue.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So, but we're going up to Uinta, really kind of all the way over to Ridge Road.
Yep.
Kind of right up against I-25, really, and then going south, kind of all the way down.
Cross 24.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're talking about Cross 24 and then down to Bear Creek Park.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
lower Gold Camp Road.
Yep. But you can see like this old So it actually, like, way back in the day, last thing we'll say about it is that it actually was established as the capital of, I don't even know if we're still zoomed in on that, but now you're on my face. It was the capital of Colorado Territory, which is kind of cool. And then they were like, nah, fam. And so they got rid of it as the capital. But you can see, like, this was, and when you realize, like, where it is in the city and, like, the views from here of Pikes Peak, you can see Garden of the Gods, you know, if there's not buildings in the way. You can kind of see over towards Red Rock Open Space, Cheyenne Canyon, all that stuff. So it really is, it's where it all began.
It's the essence.
It's the essence of Colorado Springs.
It is.
Cool?
Yeah.
All right. So now, number 2.
Neighborhood number 2 on our list of most iconic neighborhoods. Now, this one is another really historic one. It's kind of Colorado Springs' like first expansion as Colorado Springs proper, and that's Old North End. Very similar to OCC in the fact that you're going to see a lot of Victorians that were built turn of the century, and it's absolutely beautiful down there. I don't even know how to describe how pretty it is down there. Just very mature trees everywhere.
Yeah, I think that's really, like, you kind of know when you're driving through Old North End because you start to see, like, even though there's the main road that goes through, like, you could be driving down that, but, like, the houses are set back just a little bit and there's big mature trees in the front yards. It's almost like, I mean, they're not all perfect, obviously, but, like, a lot of the landscaping is very, like, idyllic. Like, you're like, man, I want, like, a photo of this. So when you pull them up on the MLS or, you know, Zillow or whatever, like, they photograph so well. They're so beautiful. But they're also still that same time period, late 1800s, early 1900s, is generally kind of the feel of Old North End.
Yep, absolutely. And one of my favorite streets in the Old North End, if you ever get the chance when you're there to drive down this street, is Wood Avenue.
Yeah.
And I mean, that really used to be like kind of our millionaires row, like way back in the day. Maybe
kind of still
kind
today.
of is, you know? 'Cause these mansions down there are massive.
Yeah.
Like architecture, like I've never really seen, feels very European almost, like, you know, chateaus and Tudor homes and just, I don't know, the beauty of that street is hard to describe. It's very, very pretty down there.
So is Old North End, though, only for millionaires?
Absolutely not.
Right.
No. So median home price in the Old North End, it's a little pricier because you're paying to be in one of the more iconic neighborhoods in Colorado Springs, which, by the way, Old North End, just generally speaking, kind of runs from Fillmore all the way down to Bijou, just north of downtown, and I-25 kind of all the way over to, you know, Wasatch and maybe a little bit further over there. But, you know, median home price in there is around $675, so it's not really cheap, but you can find homes in, you know, the 300s all the way up to whatever your imagination could think of.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing with Old Colorado City, is that, like, there's definitely old homes that are sometimes more like buyer specific, but a lot of opportunity for kind of forcing some equity into a home as well by just updating it, by just the ones that I think that look the best are the ones that people put a little bit of effort into keeping that historic feel, but just like modernizing it, you know, like not just turning it into like a boring gray palette, like fix and flip, like you see all the time.
Putting some care and some love into.
Yeah, and they can turn into really beautiful homes. But there's, I mean, I've even seen beautiful homes in the 400s, you know, 400s to 500s. Now, the difference between Old North End and Old Colorado City, well, one of the major differences is it's not, I wouldn't consider it like a walkable neighborhood.
Not really, no.
No, like you can walk.
Yeah.
You can walk in the neighborhood, but the walkability rating being like, we're still down in Old Colorado City right now, where you have this like main strip to walk up and down and hit restaurants and hit all the little shops. And like, you could just spend a whole day not in your car here. Yeah. Yeah, you could do that here. Old North End is a lot less of that.
It is a little bit, because you do have a little bit less of like, you know, the urban stuff kind of mixed in with Old North End. But if you got a bike in the Old North End, you're golden.
A bike or a little Lime scooter. And additionally, the other thing that is like so attractive about Old North End is its insane proximity to Garden of the Gods.
Oh, yeah.
Garden of the Gods Country Club. Like, Yeah, you don't have to drive there from your house. Like you add a 1/4 mile walk or hop on your bike and you could be at Garden of the Gods like super, super quick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. A couple other things that I really find attractive about Old North End. It's right up against downtown though. Like we said, if you got a bike or a Lime scooter, you can be in downtown in really 5 minutes anywhere from that neighborhood. And that includes all my favorite restaurants down there. Like Panino's is right there in the Old North End. If you want to go for a beautiful and historic walk, walking around the southern part of Old North End where Colorado College is, the Presbyterian Church and the Methodist Church and all those beautiful things down there. It's a really cool little neighborhood and it's well located right up against I-25. So if you want to be anywhere in town within a matter of a few minutes, you can be there.
So for number 3, so I love this video actually because the iconic neighborhoods also happen to, generally speaking, line up with my favorite neighborhoods, but that I'm not alone in saying that. Number 3 is a banger. It is such an awesome neighborhood, and every time I drive through there, I just like save a few more pennies because I just want to get there so bad. It is called the Skyway neighborhood. Skyway is south of where we are right now. So if you go to Bear Creek Regional Park, south of that, kind of to what butts up to the Broadmoor neighborhood, so kind of down towards Cheyenne, and then over towards, can you stand next to me? Stop being so awkward. Hi. So east over to 8th Street. And it's just truly a neighborhood. It's not like there's no restaurants there. There's no walkability in terms of like, you're not walking to shops and stuff like that, but it is so sexy.
It's walkable already.
It's walkable. Oh, it's walkable. It's got, the walkability for that neighborhood is really about like the trails and the access to Bear Creek Park, for example. There's like a 10-acre dog park there, which is the biggest enclosed dog park I've ever seen. Just the dog park. Yeah. And there's trails that go through there and a little creek that runs through there. And
there's
it's super adorable.
Range over there?
Yeah. There's a full, there's like tennis courts. There's so much outdoor activity. There's giant parks with volleyball and picnic areas and outdoor grills and trails and biking trails.
Yeah.
There's so many houses that also just back straight up to the mountain.
Yeah.
Now, you hear that, and you're also going to start hearing dollar signs. So I think the cheapest plot of land over there right now is like $140,000, and it's not very big.
No.
But the most expensive, I don't even know if it's a 1/4 acre.
Wow.
And the most expensive house right now is like $5.6 million. And there's a lot of those. So basically when you get over into the Skyway area, and you turn west off of 8th Street, what kind of happens is you start just like gradually going up this hill. And as you start going up the hill, you're like, oh, this is cute. This is, oh my God. Oh my God. And like as you continue going up the hill, like the houses just get more and more beautiful and aesthetic. They get more aesthetic as you continue going up the hill, and also more expensive. And so like lining the perimeter of Skyway is a bunch of $1 million homes.
Yeah.
I mean, the median out there, in fact, I'm going to look it up because the median is 600,000. The average is 827,000, right? And when there's that type of difference between the median and the average, it kind of tells you that like you've got a lot of heavy hitting expensive homes. And to me, that means that there's a bunch of expensive homes. There just happens to be like a fewer not as expensive, which is what brings that median so far down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But some of the homes over there, what makes them like so Colorado feel, and the reason that we consider this one of the most iconic neighborhoods in Colorado Springs is because there's a ton of old growth trees, there's a ton of hiking, there's Colorado activity, and the likelihood of having mule deer walk through I think every time that I've gone to look at a home over there, there has been mule deer poop in the yard.
Yeah.
So if you're scared of deer,
don't live in Skyway.
Probably don't live in Skyway.
Or bear, honestly.
Now, I've never seen a bear over there, but their park is called Bear Creek Park.
There are bears.
There's something.
There are bears.
So that is an incredible, incredible neighborhood. Absolutely beautiful. I love it. But gosh, even that one doesn't hold a candle to number 4. Number 4,
Really?
which we did a whole video on this neighborhood because it is so awesome.
Click the link. Go check out the video.
Go check out the video because we're not going to cover it as in depth right now.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Rock Rimmon.
Like Kyle mentioned, if you haven't watched the video, go check it out. Do a full in-depth neighborhood tour. Why is it iconic, Kyle? Why would you say it's iconic?
Because it has everything.
It does.
It's got U Valley Park, which is unbelievable. It's this giant park right in the middle of the entire neighborhood.
There's so much nature inside.
There's so much nature. That's where I saw my first bear, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
You always see mule deer out there. Some people have reported seeing bighorn sheep.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I don't either, but they've said it. And so like, I'm going to go with it until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Unless proving otherwise means that I've never seen them, in which case it's been proven otherwise. Anywho, aside from that though, the homes out there are beautiful. Like it's one of those places that people, when you take them there, better yet, when a client calls from out of state and they're telling me what they want, they're like, I want to be able to hike and I want to kind of feel like the mountains and they don't really know what they're describing. I tell them, shh, I will take you to the place. And the place is almost always car. And the place is almost always Rock Rimmon.
Yep.
I feel like I've never taken anybody over there and they've been like, nah, this ain't the one for me. It almost is like a cheat code as a realtor is like, I can just kind of like point them that direction because also the spread of prices like that you can find, like you can find really great houses in the high 4s, low 5s, like really, really good houses over there. I mean, shoot, all the way up to multi-million, obviously, right?
Yeah. If you really want to feel like you're in the mountains, but you're also still in town and you still have all that convenience, you know, I think one of the things you mentioned before is like the convenience of like work access because you're 5 minutes from I-25 anywhere you live in that neighborhood. Like that's what Rock Rimmon is all about. You know, rolling hills, rolling foothills, you know, craggy little hills all throughout the neighborhood, things like that. But at the same time, 5 minutes from town.
Yeah.
And you have awesome little shops and stuff spread all throughout the neighborhood. There's Josh and John's over there.
Yeah, it's kind of the perimeter of the neighborhood. So like Garden of the Gods Road is kind of the southern border. And then what's the one on the west side? I can't remember what it's called.
The Allegheny.
Yeah. Something like that.
There's a few over there, Vindicated.
Yeah, and that's where, so like along those perimeter roads, that's where you've got Josh and John's. That's where you've got Trinity Brew.
Yeah.
And that like Garden of the Gods Road is like a pretty commercial street anyway. And so there's a lot of access, grocery stores, things like that. But what makes it iconic is just the overall feel of the Rock Rimmon neighborhood and what you can find as far as houses are concerned. Now, I will say, sometimes this catches people off guard because like they didn't know to look there. And so they were originally looking on the east side or the south side of town. And so as the #1 relocation specialist in the city, I gently remind them, I know that you might be able to get like a little more house on the east side of town, but based on what you're telling me, it sounds like you want to live in Colorado and you want that feel of Colorado,
the essence.
And so like when you do go over there, what you'll find is that like what you can get for $500,000, some people get frustrated because they're like, oh, it needs so much updating. And it does need some updating. But like you're still moving into like pretty generally well-maintained homes with good build quality, but a lot of like 70s, 80s builds is what I find.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, as you go up in price point there though too, you're gonna find plenty of house for yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, there's all different styles like you mentioned. It's a great neighborhood. Enough about Rock Rimmon. Number 5 on the list. You've waited for it. I think the case could be made that this is Colorado Springs' most iconic neighborhood. Would agree. The Broadmoor. Everyone's heard about it.
Car.
Yep, car.
It is the Broadmoor. The Broadmoor is the most iconic. If you've never seen the Broadmoor, if you've never driven by the Broadmoor, then it's almost like you haven't experienced a major thing of Colorado Springs.
Oh,
It's, I mean,
sure.
especially,
Yeah.
gosh, especially this time of year when it's green and the flowers are planted and bloomed.
You want to, like, talking about Broadmoor, you want to talk about iconic neighborhoods. It almost feels like its own separate little, like, resort town.
Yeah.
You almost
Oh, yeah,
feel
yeah, yeah.
like in certain parts of it, you almost feel like you're stepping into like Bavaria or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's beautiful there.
It is so beautiful. So the Broadmoor is this giant 5-star luxury resort and hotel, but it also has an immaculate, unbelievable, one of the most beautiful golf courses
Oh yeah.
in the country for sure.
Yeah. They play the senior PGA there.
Yep.
You know, they had a whole, was it the championship they had there?
No clue. I don't know anything about golf. I just know there's a beautiful golf course.
Yeah.
There's another golf course over in that area too that has a beautiful country club. It's
Yeah.
unreal. So also from there, you've got easy access to the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, unbelievable views. So like the Broadmoor neighborhood is legitimately like up in the foothills, nestled right up underneath of the mountain. And
Yeah.
it shows when it comes to the price of the homes over there,
Oh.
because obviously like the median is around 750,000.
Yeah.
And you'll have homes. Now, it's median, right? So you can find homes for less. It's just you're going to need to be a lot more patient
Yeah.
if you want to find a home for 500,000 or 600,000. And I would just expect that if you find a home for 500,000 or 600,000, it probably, most definitely, for sure, without a doubt, needs some updating.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a time capsule,
And it's gonna be small.
and it's going to be small, and or like there's going to be some things about it that are not ideal. You know, it's on a main road or whatever. But like the neighborhood itself, yeah,
It's
it's
gonna say, why do you,
so beautiful.
why would you want to live in that neighborhood?
Prestige, iconic, absolute beauty.
Yep.
It is so gorgeous. Everywhere you go, the walkability.
Yeah.
According to the internet machines, it's also a very safe neighborhood. If you are like a little bit of that higher end, if you're a lot of bit of that higher end, some of the HOAs and the gated communities back there are to die for.
Yeah.
Some of the most beautiful houses I've legitimately ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you go in that neighborhood and you find all different styles, you know, beautiful Tudor homes. And again, you know, kind of French chateaus and, you know, wild, wild stuff compared to what you see
Yeah.
in the rest of the city. You know, I've seen homes in that neighborhood. I think one has maybe sold back there recently, but right now you can find stuff all the way up to almost $6 million back there.
Yeah.
Which gets you a lot of house and a very unique.
But what, you know what's
So-
funny though is that even some of the multi-million-dollar homes, sometimes I swear I look at and I'm like, oh, this also needs another $1 million in renovation
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
updating. Like well kept and whatever, but like you see it and it's like they're super outdated, and it's part of the quintessential dilemma of being a super freaking wealthy, like buying multi-million-dollar homes, is they do sit on the market. Generally, like their average days on market is like a lot longer.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's wise because like you realize you're like, oh, I'm buying a $2.5 million home, but I also am gonna have to put like $500,000 into it to update it and like bring it out of the 1970s or whenever it was built. So
Yeah.
those are the 5 most iconic neighborhoods in order: Old Colorado City, Old North End, Skyway, Rock Rimmon, and ultimately, finally, the Broadmoor. If you ever come to Colorado Springs, 10 out of 10 would recommend that you do it. We've got, or go visit them. We have a relocation guide that kind of goes over a lot of these things. We also have links all over the place for specific neighborhood tours if you want to learn more and see more, because we were really just kind of doing, surface level as much as we could. But let us know. You can watch those links. You can get our relocation guide from our website. The link is down below. We are the guys that will help you make that relocation possible. Love you. Goodbye.